We're a man down.
Yes. So the last person, the Eric, is I think he just got on the fourth floor. He will be up here.
So when he comes in, we should all clap.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. I think a second day. You might be a little sleepy after the the conference is getting toward the end. Thanks for your time. I hope that through this panel, you guys understand where we are sitting at the NFT market now, what these NFT leading the companies are working on, and how they see the NFT market now versus in the future. And we're going to explore from now. So let's start with the brief intro and then what's your role, and then also maybe you can share a little bit of what you're doing before the Web3 career. Let's start with Alexis.
Yeah, sure. My name is Alexei. Prior to Rarible, I built two other companies. Right before it was a sticker-related company, like a marketplace for stickers and mobile apps. And then was always involved in crypto and even tried Ethereum and before Ethereum time. Until then, 2019 was the first year where it was infrastructure in place, like wallets start to support NFTs, just really first year. And yeah, we right away started building Rarible.
Great.
Cool. Hey, I'm Zedd. I'm co-founder and COO of Magic Eden. Yeah, how did I get into this? So I started out my career in management consulting, so I worked at Bain & Company for a number of years. And I like to joke that I was doing mining at the time. This was in 2013, but it was the wrong kind of mining. It was uranium mining and not Bitcoin mining. But that eventually, in a roundabout way, led me down the path of crypto. So I ended up joining DYDX, which is one of the largest decentralized exchanges. They do trading for perpetuals. I was employee number 2 there, so I spent 3 years there. And then I was a product manager at Coinbase, where I built institutional trading products for hedge funds, asset managers, and so on. And then we founded Magic Eden in 2021. So it's been a pretty wild ride over the last 6 years in crypto.
Myself, so I've been investing in Web3 since 2018. I worked at Block Tower Capital, which is US-based crypto firm. NFT investing is definitely one of my focus. Before that, I worked at Goldman Sachs, Tokyo and Singapore about 10 years as a portfolio manager and trader. So before we start the specific question, I will give you just broad picture that how we want to moderate the panel today. So we're going to first talk about the current NFT market. And second is we're going to dive into each project specific what they're working on. And then after that, the gaming is sort of a big agenda in NFT space. So we're going to... Great. Yeah, that's Eric. So Eric, give us a quick intro about yourself.
Yeah, I'm the co-founder of Taproot Wizards. I've been in the Bitcoin space and Ethereum space for about 10 years. And yeah, happy to be on the stage.
Awesome.
Thanks for waiting for me.
Yes, we're all waiting for you. So we're going to specifically talking about the gaming angle a little bit. And then after that, we're going to talk about other NFT use cases, even outside of their current, the highlight. And then we're going to talk about challenge for why mass adoption is not happening in the industry. And then lastly, we're going to share what they're focusing at the moment. So maybe we can start with the amazing the debut of the Eric. So let's start with how do you see the NFT market today? And maybe we can start with that.
To be completely frank, I think that one of the reasons that the NFT market kicked off in the way that it did was the low interest rate phenomenon that we had, the excessive monetary printing. And look, if in that kind of environment when no one wants to hold cash and doesn't really know what to invest in, it gives the basis for new economic instruments to grow. So this is why you'd see like 300K board pictures getting very popular among investors. But I think that underpinning that, there is something real there. I think that there is some kind of, when people get out of college in the modern era, it's difficult to make friends, it's difficult to find communities. Some people go into like pick-up artist circles, like Andrew Tate stuff. Some people go into gaming. But the NFT space gave a way for people to congregate on in digital communities where they could define their own purposes. So I think that underpinning that, bullish market that was a lot about speculation, there is something real there.
Great. Let me twist the question a little bit. So Alexis, so everyone knows that NFT market is a little bit, discouraging, and then volume is decreasing. How maybe you and Zedd can try to navigate in current bearish market to your own business?
Yeah, sure. So definitely volumes goes down. People less trading these days, but we just almost like even before that, we always been like an infrastructure, and we always had APIs and protocol. We just start to work with different projects, empowering their communities and their projects with NFTs. So to say, we have a number of enterprise clients that powering their own like first steps in Web3 with our help, such as work with Mattel. It's everyone knows the Barbie company. They issue now digital collectibles, digital versions of Barbies, and you would be surprised, but it's over 1 million transactions for the last three months. So people actively trading this, and the prices are super low. It's like almost around $1. Same goes to some other enterprises, like toy companies are really successful, I would say. People and prices are super low, like it's like $10, $30, or like really low prices. And retail audience, people usually don't have wallet, and this is the first time they interact with blockchain. So this is what's happening, and we just moved to cater for a new audience, like bring more people to the space, not just fight for the small crowd of ultra rich Bored Ape holders that everyone is trying to fight for. Yeah, we're just expanding our offering, working with different projects, and bringing new use cases, new projects, and new people in the space.
Yeah, I have two thoughts on this. One is, let me contextualize or give you guys a bit of a mental model on where we are, because I think, yeah, it is somewhat like rise, fall, but there is a rise part of this again that we should get to. But it's very similar to actually where 2018, or what 2018 felt like. Everyone in 2018 thought tokens were dead. No one was launching a token in 2018. I know because I was there. And at DYDX, we were like absolutely not going to launch a token in 2018. And that was after what happened in 2017, where a whole bunch of people were launching a lot of random stuff. And NFTs in their PFP form, 10K format, feels a lot like that, right? It was sort of that, what was the big rush that led a lot of people into the industry. And our view is that the next set of innovation that happens in NFTs, it's not going to look the same. The form factor is going to be different. And that's actually what played out as well if you look at DeFi, right? Financial protocols, governance, DAOs, no one really thought about that stuff, that was going to be the thing when looking back from 2018's perspective, right? So that's the macro thought. And then the other thought was that how does that impact what we do as a business? So Magic Eden is a marketplace that's on 4 chains. So we support Solana, Ethereum, Polygon, and most recently, Bitcoin ordinals. And the reason we did Bitcoin ordinals was because we want to lean into where the innovation is happening. In this kind of market, you want to rely on those who are at the grassroots and trying to push the boundaries. Guys like, Taproot Wizards, you look at the people who are building on Bitcoin, it's a really interesting space. So for us, we think about the grassroots as one area where we want to essentially spend a lot more time. And then the other way we think about it is also from a creator perspective, where are the creators? What are they doing? What are they launching? How can they use NFTs that may be different or analogous to how they currently engage their audiences today? And then after that, when you look at it through that lens, it's basically what segments look interesting, right? Is it gaming, as Steve was mentioning? Is it content creators? Is it music? All of that starts to become the kind of work that we want to do as a marketplace over the next couple of years.
Great. I think we can step back a little bit. So in NFT marketplace, there's the biggest debates around loyalty. So if you give a little bit more the colors for those who are not familiar with. So the NFT marketplace, the loyalty is the money that the creator gets when their RPs, NFT RPs is traded second time, third time, fourth time, the original creator gets a fee, which is a very meaningful that blockchain can offer to this industry, which non-blockchain couldn't do it. However, because of the NFT marketplace such as a Blur, which depress the fee because they're going to focus on NFT trader, not the NFT creators. Because they depress the fees, basically a lot of users move from OpenSea to Blur if they're NFT trader. But so I think this goes to Alexis and Zedd, good question. So both NFT marketplaces they raise a hand for NFT creator, which means that they want to keep loyalty rather than many other NFT marketplaces that depress the fee to get the more users and then focusing on NFT trader. They are focusing a little bit on NFT creators rather than traders. I'm not saying which is right, but I wanna hear a little bit of your decision to maintain the loyalty for NFT creators very briefly. So whichever starts first.
You want to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I can go. I can't believe we're still talking about royalties. Feels like a never-ending kind of topic. But it is very important because I think the market has generally spoken that royalties are really important with NFTs. Not only from like an adoption perspective, but I also think it's just a very, very good narrative if we want to grow NFTs, and that's always been true. So the context with Magic Eden and royalties, all of the stuff that we've been seeing on Ethereum about royalties being dropped by OpenSea and Blur, that all played out actually on Solana about a year ago. so we've been like dealing with this for quite a while. What happened there, and this is a really important point, is that you need the entire ecosystem to come together to basically make that happen, for royalties to actually work. And let me explain why that is. It's not only a technical solution, but it's also a social consensus problem. And the way we approached it was basically working with creators who wanted to bring this back, working with those who were building standards, which partly that was us, and then obviously us adopting those standards to create a new NFT standard that everyone can use. And that is the world that I think is most optimal, because it's not, as a marketplace or as an NFT ecosystem, there are three key players. One is the trader. We cannot escape that fact, right? That's just, they are there. NFT collectors, those that will follow their creators anywhere they go, right? The fans, so to speak. And then the last one is creators themselves. They have to be part of the picture. If there isn't new content, good content coming to the NFT space, then what are we all doing here, right? So in my view is that, and our house view at Magic Eden is that we have to try and make this work, and we've been working very hard with creators to try and make that work, and that's the view we take on any chain where there is creator appetite to do so. The exception, ordinals, I don't think there's really been that strong of an appetite to introduce some kind of royalties. There maybe has been a little bit in the art world, because that's something that they're used to, but by and large, it's not quite the same on ordinals as it is on, say, Ethereum and Solana, for example. And we're happy to respect that from a community social consensus standpoint. Yep.
Actually, let's move on a little bit. I think he gives a pretty great colors on royalties. So maybe I'll go to Eric. So a little bit project specific. Maybe those, maybe for audience who don't understand maybe Bitcoin ordinals. So maybe you can share what it is a little bit. And then second is you are obviously very unique, the project you are leading to. So how do you want to navigate this NFT marketplace with the Bitcoin basis? Maybe there's 2 points for audience and the project specific.
Yeah, so I think that the philosophy of the ordinal space is that Bitcoin ordinal NFTs are real NFTs and all the other NFTs are shitcoins. and the reason that we're saying that is like, okay, so what is an NFT? It's an image on a blockchain. But most of the NFTs on like Ethereum are not even images on a blockchain. They're like links to a Web 2, a Web 2 link on a blockchain. And sometimes those links break down. Sometimes they are IPFS links, but they don't, and even in the case of IPFS, you don't have like a guarantee that that data is going to be stored there forever, right? So the reason why Bitcoin NFTs are special is because we take this scarce block space that is the Bitcoin blockchain, and we mold it into pictures. And because Bitcoin is the only chain that actually focuses on making sure that every user in the world can download the entire blockchain. Like if you compare it with Ethereum, for example, Ethereum is moving towards history expiry. So history expiry means that nodes, regular full nodes, default full nodes in Ethereum will not have their default setting to actually store the data after 1 year. Only Bitcoin is the chain that focuses on making sure that that data is stored that forever, and it does that by putting artificial constraints on how much data you can enter into the blockchain. That is why when you make a Bitcoin ordinal, like you're taking a very scarce resource. It's almost like you're working with materials that are scarce in the world, almost in the sense that when you're making jewelry out of gold, the reason that it's special is because you took a scarce precious metal and you molded it into something. The rest of the NFT space doesn't really have that. And then there's a bunch of other values that goes into the Bitcoin ordinal space, which is that you mentioned royalties, for example. So yeah, in the Bitcoin world, like if you own something, ownership means I have the ability to give it away to whoever I want. There shouldn't be a royalty on that. Otherwise, it's not true ownership. I personally don't necessarily agree with that notion, because I think that what is the definition of a free market? Is a definition of a free market where you are allowed to, where you must have royalty-free NFTs, or is a truly free market a market that incorporates both royalties and non-royalty based projects, and it gives the creator and the community to choose what to participate on? And I would say that, in my opinion, the freest market is the one that allows both. However, there's a technical challenge with actually making sure that you can enforce these royalties, and that's the reason why we're having all these discussions.
Right. Anyone in the audience who owns Bitcoin ordinals? Oh, there you go. Okay. So we're gonna move to the gaming a little bit. I think especially NFT marketplace or NFT related, you can't really separate from the gaming. So let's maybe dig into the gaming with Alexis first. So based on my knowledge, I think Railball is doing a lot of collaboration, integration, such as integration with the Immutable X, which is a leading players in NFT gaming space, but also collaborating with Macaron, and you can maybe share with the audience a little bit. So tell me what the gaming angles that Railball is exploring as of now.
Yeah, sure. We support Immutable X, so it means that you can trade all the Immutable X network assets. Usually it's games. It's a really game-focused chain on Rarible. Also work with Animoca. We power in their Mochaverse collection, and it's more of the digital identity, I guess, but it's still heavily around gaming. It's like digital identities you can use in games and in the other metaverses in the ecosystem of Animoca project. So games is one of the major bets. I guess everyone believes that they will bring more people into the space and utilize crypto blockchains and NFTs in the best way. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot of traction in this direction, although yeah, it's still early days, and yeah, definitely we'll see cool games. Such as one of the biggest AAA publishers are joining the space. Like also, work a little bit with Ubisoft, but still there is some resistance from gaming community, I guess. So that's the question: who will be the early adopters, like new audience or all the audience of gamers who will convert?
Great. And Zedd, I think Magic Eden recently, or a few months ago, announced Magic Eden Game, which is, I think, a big initiative Magic Eden pushing in the gaming sector. Can you explain a little bit of background?
Yeah, for sure. There's basically three things with Magic Eden Games. One is that we directly invest in games. So we've invested in about 20 games over the last year or so. That's like direct seed stage investments. Number two is we help them with discovery. And what does that mean? Basically, we help actually launch a bunch of games on Magic Eden. So we have a product called Launchpad, and we work with games to basically bring them to market. And then the last thing we do is we support games from like a back-end perspective. So you can imagine a world in the future where you come to Magic Eden, not only can you discover a bunch of content, right, that exists, whether maybe it's like a trailer or something, and then maybe there's a bunch of like content about how to actually like optimize certain mechanics in the game, and then you can also at the same time bulk buy a bundle or buy or mint an item that lets you get into the game. So we're really excited about this space in general. It's probably been said to death over the last couple of days, but the reasoning for us is basically that there's already a lot of very analogous behavior that we see in gaming communities, that social behavior that exists there that we think is it's so similar to what people do in NFT communities, right? It's you want to own things, you want to flex things. You have whales in that community. You have people who casually play the thing. It's so similar to what we already observe in non-gaming like NFTs. So that's what gets us excited. And when we think about what can bring scale to this industry, yeah, it is what we want to work on the things that will create millions and millions of NFTs, right? And that's why I think this is it's a long investment. Don't get me wrong. It's not like a thing that's going to happen tomorrow. But it's worth placing a bunch of bets on. So over the course of the next couple of years, we'll be building out Magic Eden Games as basically a full stack platform to help games.
Great. So I will share a little bit on gaming and we can move on. So for me, I'm an investor. So I think when I'm making an investment into gaming related deals in the industry, I usually categorize 3 different baskets. So one is 100% on-chain game, which one of the leading crypto firm in US is very praising for. Everything built on-chain. But I think that's a little bit ideal, in my personal opinion. Eventually it's going to be there, but it's one basket. The second basket is more hybrid. The on-chain, off-chain, a little bit of balance. So something is on-chain like NFT, but things are transaction, maybe they can put on the off-chain. On third angle is the Web 2 with the slight touch with the Web 3. So in this Asia market, which is the biggest potential market for the gaming, Japan market, as you guys all know, out of 10 biggest IP in revenue-wise, 7 of them are Japanese. And then Korea also have a big gaming country. So I talk to many of this gaming, the participants, they are all building the blockchain game with a little slight touch with the NFT, but the Web 3 angle is a little slight. So if I have 10 balls, I think I'll put maybe 2 on-chain part because you have to support the innovation as investors, but I'll put maybe 3 on the hybrid. And then for near the bull market of the gaming, I want to bet on this big kind of the gaming entities getting into Web 3. So closing up the web gaming, let's move on to some other NFT use cases in NFT, starting with Eric. So giving you a little bit of background about Eric. Eric was a Bitcoin columnist. He got involved in NASDAQ to acquire some crypto company. He also worked as a CIO for crypto fund, and he's doing this amazing Bitcoin NFT. So he has a very broad perspective. Now I'm going to mention one more thing here. So recently, Eric tokenized his time and service. I think putting some NFT package on it, and then it was very innovative. So tell us about this innovative thinking and share with the audience the background of the initiative.
Yeah, so when I got introduced to the concept of NFTs, my sort of frame of reference or what I was thinking about was World of Warcraft. Because I remember I was playing World of Warcraft, I had all of these magic items in my magic item bag, and I thought about, okay, so what's actually like a useful magic item in World of Warcraft? Like your Hearthstone, that's the thing that teleports you, that's useful. So I was thinking, like, what is something that's like a recurring, an item that you can use on a recurring basis that could be like an NFT in the real world? And so the idea that I come up with would be like, what if you had an NFT that allowed you to summon a friend, like the helpline of call a friend? So this NFT that I created, which was called Eric's Orb, just allowed you once a week to ask me a question and then receive an answer on I have 7 days to answer the question. And what
if you fail to answer it in 7 days?
So in the current form, it's all about reputation. It's all about trust. So what we say is that like when you're running a crypto project, you can always blame someone else. Like it was because of this person or that person, or it was because of the market. But if you can't even honor your own promise that you say, I'm gonna honor this one NFT, I'm gonna answer a question once a week, then like it destroys your entire reputation as a person. We may introduce other economics into it where you have to like post a bond, and if you don't respond in time, it gets slashed. But that gets kind of complicated because what if you give really shitty responses? Then you need a DAO to sort of moderate and decide whether or not you were bullshitting or not. So it gets complicated. Anyway, so people are starting to compare that orb. So we launched one for me. There's one for Nick Carter, who's also a speaker at this conference. You should check it out, by the way. It's nick.orb.land, and you can see he writes literal essays once a week to the holder of his orb.
Okay.
We applied another thing to it, which is called Harburger taxes. So it goes into this discussion around royalties, like how can the issuer of an NFT have like a recurring revenue stream? That's very difficult to enforce with royalties. But the Harburger tax, I don't know if I'm gonna cannibalize all the time of this panel to explain what it is, but it basically puts a tax on the holder of the NFT. So the current person who holds Nick's NFT, he has to put a sales price for what he's willing to sell the NFT for, and then he has to pay a tax based on that amount. So the current holder of Nick's NFT has put a sales price of 7.5 Ether. No, 5 Ether, sorry, 5 Ether. And then he pays 7.5 Ether per year, like it drains each block. So you fill your NFT up with money, and then it drains over time, and that money goes to the creator. That's called a Harburger tax. It was invented in the 70s. It has been tried to be applied to properties, but I think that NFTs and digital items, especially NFTs that have some kind of utility, like maybe you don't want to pay for like a painting on your wall. It's like a subscription to have a painting on your wall. That does make sense. But if it is a useful recurring service, like being able to ask someone a question each week, then maybe that's a service. That's like a Netflix subscription that you're willing to pay for. This is very similar to the model that Friendtech is using. Yeah. So this is like, I think we're seeing a resurgence of like social token NFTs coming back, where the token is like your community or the access to you is token gated. That is an aspect of NFTs that previously has failed in crypto with BitCloud, never really kicked off. But I think when you make it clear what the utility is, so in Friendtech it's these chat groups. With the orb, it's the ability to get an answer to a question or some other service. Then it's more clear like why there exists a token for this.
Great. With the time constraint, maybe rather than putting a description, maybe quickly, Alex, Zedd, what are the other NFT utility are you excited as a word, not a sentence?
So digital identities, different achievements, passes, all this. NFTs, zero price NFTs, cheap NFTs, this is something that will be big.
Great.
I think collectible. Physical collectibles. I think that link between physical and NFT is becoming easier and easier. That then opens up a pretty infinite space.
Got it.
Yep.
My case, I think the most exciting thing on NFT use case is two things. One is IP entertainment application, which Japan is a very big market for. The second is physical redeemable, which the Nike is a number one, the Web2 company making a lot of money. Basically, if you have Air Jordan or Nike Air Force One and virtual goods, let's say, if you have one, if you go to Soho Nike store in Manhattan, you get a 30% discount or something, let's say. So I think connection between physical and the virtual goods maybe I think is a good potential market. So we have 3 more minutes. So I have 2 more questions. So one question first is, everyone is looking for adoption, of course, right? What do you think the major challenges, not just for NFT, but in this industry, that blocks us from seeing the major adoption? Maybe short, but let's start from Zedd.
Yeah, I think it's basically, it's 2 things. One is like, obviously it's harder to onboard into Web3. I think the second thing is basically the form factors and content. I'll focus on the second one because I think the first one's probably been talked about a lot. Effectively the only thing that's taken off in NFTs has been profile pictures, right? So, and that cannot really bring in like that many consumers. We obviously love it, like some group of us, maybe some of you in the audience, but it is kind of niche, right? It's like niche communities coming together. and that are bonded by an image. So I think that's why we spend a lot of time, and that's why we think the creator side of the business is really important, but spend a lot of time finding opportunities with gaming companies, musicians, artists, content creators, to see if we can utilize NFT as the technology to enable them, whether it's like monetization, engagement, things like that, right? Solve some of their problems. Once we have that good content coming in, I think the users and adopters will come. So we very much think about it as like a content-led sort of strategy that at Magic Eden, yeah.
Yeah, so infrastructure is definitely lacking. So UX is really bad, and this is what we are solving, and this is what the whole industry is solving. And we're seeing like L2s, and yeah, all this will help a lot in the next cycle.
I don't know. and I think that's a great thing, actually. I think that not crypto staying unpredictable, keeping us on our toes, surprising us. Like, I don't think that anyone could predict, like 2 years ago, that Bored Ape Pictures was going to be like a huge deal.
No one expect DeFi summer. No one expect the Axia Infinity-driven NFT market like that.
Yeah, so frankly, I don't know, and if I knew, I would be disappointed, because not knowing and continuously being surprised with the innovation that this space brings, that's the whole point. If I felt like I was knowing what was ahead, then maybe I'd stop being interested in this space.
So that's how the creative person think the way they think. The person like me, analytical person, my answer will be, I think what's lacking in this industry is fun components. It should be the fun rather than technology. I think we should focus on fun game, fun experience. Second is you should give a new user experience. In this world, I think people pay money for the new experience they never had. So I think they have to focusing on the new experience that only blockchain can offer. And the last thing is, I think wallet is always, and then it's going to be for a while, the major pain point for many the players. So wrapping up the last question quickly. So there are some audience that listen to your story. So maybe after this panel, maybe you want to target someone who might be helpful to you, and then you can helpful to them. So my question will be, what type of people are you looking to collaborate and want to talk to? Maybe to the audience, maybe starting from Derek.
I want to meet people that really care about, that thinks that Bitcoin still has a chance, that hasn't given up yet, that wants to fight for it. There are a lot of people that think that the game of Bitcoin is over. Like, Bitcoin is not innovating, it's going away. If you're still out there, you think that Bitcoin has a chance, you want to make it work, you think that Lightning is not maybe the best layer 2 solution, but you want to push the edges of innovation forward, and want to bring innovation back to Bitcoin, I want to talk to you. Also, if you are very influential and people cherish your word a lot, then maybe you want to meet me and discuss potentially creating an orb together. Either if you're in AI or if you're into NFTs or in crypto broadly, if you have an area of expertise and you can't really go through your DMs and you're like, you can ask my orb instead, then I want to talk to you also.
Yeah, everyone who is building new projects in NFTs, shoot us a message, partnerships@rarible.com. We will try to help you with infrastructure, APIs, and marketing. And just looking for new use cases, new cool projects, creative teams. So yeah, happy to work with you guys.
Yeah, anyone who's looking to use NFTs as either an engagement or monetization tool, similar kind of thing, down to chat. It's like the sentiment I think Eric expressed is exactly right. Like, let's do some random cool shit. Good things are going to come. I'm very, very confident about it.
Great. So I think this wraps up our panel. So making sure if you're fascinated with the Eric's story, please talk to him to get the more creative thinking. And then Magic Eden and then the Rarible, two leading NFT marketplaces, but not just trading. If you're a creator, if you're projects, if you're a company who want to look for the partnership with them, please talk to them. So thank you for the panel today.
Thank you.
Thank you.